So I appreciate, because you know the crowd is not with you.
I got that impression, yeah.
And if you're a conservative, aren't you really Team Trump?
Well, it depends on what. So what I've called myself is sometimes Trump. Okay, people have said there's never Trump and then there's always Trump. Sometimes Trump meaning that when he does something that I like, I cheer, and when he does something that I hate, which happens, then I boo. And I'm booing as loudly as you are when he does something that's really bad. But listen, you're very upset about this Supreme Court nominee. I am very pleased about this Supreme Court nominee as a conservative, right? He's doing a lot of things that I like in terms of policy. Now, that doesn't mean that I am cheering his character, because I think that it is very difficult to cheer Donald Trump's character, nor do I think it's appropriate.
Well, what do you like?
Okay, so I like the tax cuts. I like
the
movement.
You like the tax cuts? Yeah,
it hurts me, by the way, in California, but I like it as a general policy.
Ladies, he's rich. But see, I don't even know what the Republican beliefs are. I mean, you're a young guy, but you certainly remember 2 years back when beliefs were completely the opposite of what they are now.
Well, which
they were
ones?
for
Which ones?
Free trade. They were
I agree with you.
giant deficit hawks.
Yep.
The Tea Party was all about we're going to solve the deficit.
Yep.
But they didn't, did they?
Well, the Democrats ain't going to do it either, so.
I know.
I mean, obviously, it's been very frustrating to me to watch so many Republicans do exactly that. I've been incredibly critical of Republicans who have suddenly become fans of Vladimir Putin or have suddenly become fans of tariffs. I think all of that is idiocy. But again, I think that with regard to judges, with regard to taxes, with regard to Middle Eastern policy, particularly Iran and Israel, I'm much more of a fan of President Trump than I certainly would have been of Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama. And by the way, I didn't vote for President Trump in the last election because of my concerns about him.
Okay, so you would not vote for a Democrat under any circumstance or some circumstance?
I mean, I would say some circumstance, but the Democratic Party would have to stop being insane, meaning that they would actually have to approach something like moderation in terms of policy and also present a face that doesn't look like people shouting down people at gas stations or entering restaurants and trying to throw them out. I don't think it's...
I mean, and it's not just lock her up. He talked about locking Comey up. He talks about locking journalists up. There's a guy who said lock Tim Kaine up. How about we stop the lock them up? Shouldn't the civility argument start there before we care about who gets their entree?
Well, it isn't just about who gets their entree. It's about who gets harassed in public. By the way, I'm not going to make excuses for President Trump's
But which is more
statements.
important?
Well, I think that all of it is important. If you're going to ask me, I think we can chew gum and walk at the same time, can't we? Can't we just say incivility is bad across the board?
Yes, but you can't be a person... Why
is it that we're only opposed, when you're a Democrat, you're only opposed to incivility when it's Donald Trump, but suddenly Maxine Waters is anti-Maxine?
Because, Ben, you can't walk into a room and see an elephant and a mouse and not know which one is bigger.
But it's not an elephant and a mouse, it's two elephants.
But it is, really?
Yes.
Threatening to lock up journalists...
I needed 600 officers to protect me at Berkeley. Yes, it's an elephant and an elephant. Yes, it's an elephant and an elephant. When Joe Biden in 2012 says to Mitt Romney that he's going to put y'all back in chains about black people. This stuff pre-existed Donald Trump. Donald Trump is terrible on this.
But that didn't come from the president at Berkeley.
It came from the vice president when he was saying that Mitt Romney, the cleanest person ever, okay, was a guy who was going to put y'all back in chains. To pretend incivility started with Donald Trump.
No, not incivility, but I'm talking about the level to which it's at, where you're threatening...
I agree with you.
Do you really think Donald Trump respects the rule of law? I mean, if somebody...
No, but I think the Constitution itself is a pretty damn durable document, thank God. Okay, so the reason I'd vote for Trump over her is because I agree with him a lot more on policy, and I actually believe a lot of the damage that he has done to the country in terms of social fabric has already occurred. So I said I didn't vote for him in 2016. The reason I didn't vote for him in 2016 is because I feared the damage he would do to the social fabric, and I also didn't think he was going to govern conservative because I didn't see a lot of indicators of that. He's governed a lot more conservative than I thought he was going to, and as far as the damage to the social fabric, if he's already done it, I'm not actually mitigating against the damage to the social fabric by not voting for him in 2020. Okay.
This is Kamala Harris tweeted, "Children are our nation's future. We must listen to them about what they care about and give them a voice in our government." And you wrote, ridiculous. And you wrote, children should not have a voice in our government, they're children. And you're right, this is where the left drives me crazy. But then you wrote, they are also incapable of fully rational thought, thoroughly uncivilized, and completely driven by immediate emotional response. I can't think of a more perfect description of Donald Trump. What I don't understand...
He's been a lot harsher on Putin than Obama was, by the way.
Harsher on Putin? You got...
Not in terms of his rhetoric, in terms of his actions. He has armed the people of Ukraine with deadly weaponry, which Obama would not do. 200 Russian soldiers were killed in Syria by U.S. forces under Donald Trump, not under Barack Obama. It was Barack Obama who was saying to Dmitry Medvedev that he wanted to provide him with flexibility in 2012. Crimea was annexed under Barack Obama.
Wow.